Yeah.
Great stuff. Hi everyone. Thanks for joining us this evening. We have England captain Owen Farrell and head coach Steve Borthwick. James, should we come to you first?
Yes, Steve, your reaction to that? To what extent was that pride restored?
Well, I think firstly and most importantly, I think you can congratulate right now Ireland, the magnificent Ireland team, on winning a Grand Slam. You can see how they're built over this World Cup cycle, and to a team that's performed really well through this Six Nations. We came here believing we could win the game, and I think the team fought incredibly hard, but unfortunately we fell short and were disappointed with the result.
How much encouragement does it give you, though, the fight that was shown, the character that was shown?
Well, I think throughout several aspects and different times throughout this Six Nations, I've seen growth in the team. I've also seen some times where we've not been what we need to be and how we need to be. And I think that will allow, when I do the review of the Six Nations properly, I think that will give clear indications of what we need to do going forward. If I said how far behind we are the other teams, some of these teams at the top of the world, and we saw last week just how far we are behind. I said to you again, we've got to learn fast. Do I think the team have learned quite a bit this week? I think the team's learned quite a bit this week, and I think they've managed to put a good chunk of that out on the pitch today.
The red card was a key moment. What did you make of it?
To be honest, my thinking was more about the red card. We're down to 14 men. What is the significance? What do we need to make from a tactical adjustment point of view? That whenever this referee goes through a disciplinary process like that, I'm thinking as coach, I'm thinking, right, if he goes this way, what's the significance? And that's where my head turned to.
You don't feel hard done by?
As I say, my at the time, my concentration was right. What does the team need to do now? Well, how can I help the team, if in any way? But Owen already had the situation under control. I thought the players adapted to the situation incredibly well. Clearly, that against the number one side in the world, that eventually the space became apparent, especially when down to 13 men. And, the fatigue took its toll eventually, but I thought the players adapted incredibly well to going to 14 men.
Do you think that red card had a big influence on the outcome?
Well, I think there's lots of moments within the game, and clearly the situations that do have influence. As I say, I'm looking at the team and going, how do they respond to what the situation they find themselves in? And I thought the team, led by Owen, responded magnificently well, but we are disappointed we didn't get the win. We came here to Dublin to try and win this test match, and we didn't. And with that, we're disappointed.
How's Freddie Stewart?
Freddie Stewart is, firstly I'll say, I thought Freddie, again, in the minutes he was on the pitch, from the majority of that first half clear he was on the pitch, I thought he was playing incredibly well again, and he shows himself to be a player who's just adapted to international rugby and keeps getting better and better. And I think for us through the Six Nations, I think you've seen that now as you start seeing some of the players that have started learning much more about international rugby, learning about for many of our players is our first time, substantial time in the Six Nations, and the intensity of the Six Nations. So I think the players have grown through it.
What did you make of the red?
I was surprised, if I'm honest, but I mean, it's not up to us. It's not up, we don't make the rules. We don't put them in place. We don't hear what goes on in the rest mic, and the process that they go through. So that's the decision that came to. We had to accept it.
Do you think it's good for the game, though, these sorts of cards, deciding big matches like that?
I don't know. I'm not sure. That's not up to me to decide, is it? I thought the game was a brilliant contest. I thought it was a brilliant test match, and I thought that the way that we reacted after we got that red card was very good. I thought we fought for each other, and unfortunately, we didn't get on the right side of the result, which is very disappointing in an England shirt. But I thought the reaction to things that didn't go our way, and the card being one of them, especially after last week, I thought was brilliant. Yeah.
Steve, a lot of conversation will now turn towards the World Cup. How confident are you that you can close the gap that you talk about between now and then?
Well, I'm looking forward to having the opportunity to work with the players for a period of time. We get a number of weeks to prepare. Players will be then conditioned for international rugby. Players will understand how we want to play. This has been, and I think you know what I think of the Six Nations has been a fabulous tournament. Been 5 intense games, and effectively you then have one main training session a week. So what we need to do, I'm looking forward to having the opportunity to work with the players for a longer period of time, and I think we can make some growth. I think we've seen some growth here, but I think we'll see more in that preparation period.
And do you envisage many changes to the squad? Are there players who aren't available now that you expect to be available?
Well, I think, as ever, there was players I picked at the start of this Six Nations that have been, and unfortunately for them, have been unable to play a part of this Six Nations. Now, when it comes to selection day, I'll pick the squad then at the time we're out with the players that are available. Now, we'll debrief this Six Nations thoroughly. We'll take what lessons we take from it and be clear on our direction going forward.
Zach Mercer, one of those guys, any thoughts?
I don't think now's the right time to be talking about individuals. I think right now the players are putting an incredible effort. I think you've got to credit the players of both sides, and I think, again, I say many congratulations to Ireland for their winning the Grand Slam today. We'll recover from this. We'll debrief. I'll chat to the coaches. We've got changes in the coaching team, clearly. So then I'll be chatting to the whole coaching team about selection going forward.
And overall, it's 2 wins from 5 in the Six Nations, the third year in a row, I think. Do you accept there'll be a lot of disappointment among the fans back home at where the English game is at the moment?
I think I've already said to you that I'm disappointed with the result today. And I think I've already said to you a few times that there is a gap. The team is not where it could be, and it's not, whilst we're judging against teams that have used this 4-year cycle tremendously well. That's not what's happened with England. That's not the position England are in. Now, I can't do anything about the past. All I can do is about the future, and I intend we'll be working really hard to put England in the best position possible, and I'm excited about what these players can do for the World Cup.
Will Nick Evans be a part of your plans going forward?
And I said that, I've answered the question before, and I'm happy to keep answering it, that I said at the end of the Six Nations, we'll then have a good conversation with Nick about plans going forward.
Steve, I know you were disappointed with the result, but was there one single aspect of the performance that you see the most?
I think Owen's talked about that really well. I thought the first part of the game played well, other than gave away too many penalties, and you just can't do that in any test. Never mind when you're playing against the number 1 side in the world. I think then the players' response to the adversity was in the middle. That middle part of the game was magnificent. Unfortunately, the space told at the end of it, but I thought the players responded brilliantly through the game.
Owen, have you had a chance to catch up with your dad yet and just maybe speak about his achievements?
I did for 2 seconds then out there, but I guess we'll see each other upstairs now.
Sum up his achievement, maybe what he's done here.
Oh, I mean, to win a Grand Slam special, yeah. The lads who was here last time that we did that know it's a tough achievement. So yeah, I think anybody that's not just won a Six Nations but a Grand Slam, it's a special achievement.
Steve,
Yeah, we'll come to you.
I understand fully what you're saying about the gap and why that's where it is because of what's gone forward and you can't control that. But does that mean that everything has to be judged differently from the way you would want it to be? And is kind of the World Cup the point at which everything changes because it is the World Cup and it sort of doesn't matter what shape England goes in?
I think if I'm understanding the question correctly, I think right now we've got to good level set right now. We played the last 2 games of the Championship against the top 2 sides in the world. I think you've seen the growth that the players have made in a week, and you see how they have learned and developed from playing against the second best side in the world to playing against the number 1 side in the world. And I think with that level of growth, I'm excited about what the team can do, having a more extended period of time together.
Thanks. Luke, we'll come to Luke next. Thanks.
Owen, clearly England, you competed incredibly well, particularly in the first half, and led for much in the first half. Is there any discussion about what happened with the first try? Because up until then, you defended incredibly well.
It was from a set play, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That one. No, I mean it happened. It happened. There was no point dwelling on it. After that, I think there would have been a fix from the people that was involved, and then we'd have gone on with it. That was the key to us sticking in this game today. Not just sticking in it, but fighting for everything. Is that we couldn't keep dwelling on what had just gone on. As Steve has said, we give too many penalties away in the first part of the game, and we ended up in our own 22 quite a bit. But we accepted where we were, and we fought for each other. And some of the defensive sets early on in that first half, I thought were tremendous, and then we managed to get down the other end of the field and get some points on the board. So I think that the key to what you was just saying is to get into the next moment, and I thought we did that pretty well today.
Thank you. A quick one for Steve. Steve, clearly you didn't have as much time as you would have liked to prepare for this tournament, given when you were appointed. What do you think you've learned personally over the course of the last few weeks as a coach yourself?
Well, I think that, I'll debrief the tournament thoroughly in the days that come. I think right now, sitting after this game, I'm disappointed for the players that we couldn't get the win. I thought they worked really, really hard, applied themselves magnificently, and moved a long way forward after last weekend's game. So I'm disappointed for the players right now that we couldn't get a win for them.
Thanks. And we'll come to you.
It was a very intense game, a brilliant atmosphere out there. How would you describe what it's like to come up against that Irish team?
No, they're obviously a fantastic team. A lot's been said in the week about them. They were obviously going for a Grand Slam and the number 1 team in the world. So they're obviously a fantastic team. It's always good to play here. It's a fantastic place to play. And as I said, I thought it was a good contest. I thought it was a good contest for large parts of that game. And as we said, the start we probably didn't do ourselves too many favours with the penalties that we give, but we grew into that game, and thought we reacted well to the card, and we didn't quite manage to hold on against the top side. So as we've said before, congratulations to them on their Grand Slam.
Your dad is on quite a journey with them at the minute. Incredible to win a Grand Slam. Did he always show signs, I suppose, to want to be this head coach that he's turning out to be? Did he coach you a lot underage?
We just had normal conversation as a dad and a lad.
It's probably, if I answer that, it's probably easy for me rather than ask the son. I've had the pleasure of coaching alongside Andy and the Lions in 2017, and he's a magnificent coach. I was also coached by him when I was a player when we was playing at Saracens. And I think, and then you see he's an incredible coach, and you see it's a team packed full of talent. So they're the best in the world, and they've set a benchmark, and we found ourselves short today where they are. Now our job to go away from this is to again find a way of getting to compete close and win games like that today.
Thanks. And we'll finish with Will Kelleher. Thank you.
I mean, can you just talk to us about the challenge that players have to get attacking decisions right in such a short period of time? It seems like such a tough thing to do at the moment, with one tiny mistake and it leads to the fight.
Yeah, I think tackle height is obvious that we want to do some work and be at a good height and safe and be leading in the game with that. I think. If
we're talking about tackle height, we can have a conversation about tackle height. That's fine. I think what was clear there is that Freddie was not trying to make a tackle. So if we want to talk about that, we can talk about tackle height. So
that's kind of what I meant was he was trying to avoid a tackle and he still got him.
That's what.
Well, I think you've answered. So, and I don't. Right now, there'll be a disciplinary procedure that happens, and I think it's not right for Owen or myself to be talking about the particular incident. The decision happened, and I think we, quite rightly, the England team respects the referee's decisions. The players are magnificent on the pitch there, respect the decision that happened, and we talked about how we adapt thereafter. He wasn't trying to make a tackle, so it's not about tackle height.
Thanks very much, everyone. Writers, we will do a short briefing with Steve in the room just to your right, our left. Thank you.